Good morning, everybody. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. It's Saturday morning. I'm going to make sure we have the button connected in the membership area so you guys can find me right now. Go ahead and publish that. And that should be good. You guys should both be able to get me online on your mobile, on your desktop. I think it's all going to be good. Let's see when you guys show up here. If you're watching the replay, skip ahead a couple of minutes because it takes a few minutes for people to get into the chat here to start asking questions. And we're jamming to some synthwave music. This is the opportunity that we're doing actually in the syndicate right now. And I'm loving this stuff. This is more modern. This isn't as, what we're doing in the syndicate is more retro. So this is what you're listening to is a more modern version of synthwave. But I'm just falling in love with this genre. That's what's really cool about licensing is you get to learn and see all these cool new genres that you didn't even know existed. So looks like our stream is not doing so well. Maybe I can minimize a bunch of stuff. Make it a little bit better. Let's see. A little bit easier. I think we minimize some windows here. All right, we got a couple of you guys in here. Welcome, guys. Byrne and Martin, what's going on, guys? We're just gonna wait for a few more to get started. We still got 2 minutes until 9, so we're not officially at that time yet. Go ahead and close out all these windows. Free up some more space on the computer. Dem, what's up, man? Pretty much, yeah, it looks like it's working a little bit better now. Seeing me fine, hearing me fine, you can hear the music. I'm gonna turn the music off in just a second once we get started with the questions. All right, make sure everybody's, make sure that email, you guys got that email, right, that I just sent out? We only have 7 people that opened it, so it might be a slow Q&A today. But we'll see. You know, people sometimes show up a little bit late, so. Atomic, what's going on, bud? All right. Well, while we still get more and more people coming in probably a little bit later, I'm going to turn down this music. And feel free to post your questions in the chat, guys. I know, Martin, you had quite a few questions. There was another member who had quite a few about working with libraries and that kind of thing. So this is the place to do it, guys. So don't be shy. Post your stuff there. Oh, so Martin, you're waiting for a contract? Right on, man. Congrats on that. Let me know how that goes. Hopefully they give you decent terms, and you know, I know they have a very good reputation in the business. So yeah, I'm anxious to see what they do for you there. But really cool, dude. Really, really cool there. Morning, David. Welcome, bud. And yeah. Only 7 people opened this. I don't know. Everybody, you guys are all asleep. Well, I have 9 watching, so okay. I think I'm just not getting the right stats. So no, we've got a good crowd in here so far. So we got 9 people in here so far. Dan, what's going on? Hope you guys had a productive week and month since we last talked. Corville, what's going on? Good morning. Every time I see your name, Corville, I think of Chevelle, and it's one of my favorite bands, actually. It's kind of funny. And let's see. Good times indeed. Good times indeed. All right. Looks like we got some questions coming in now. So, David, do libraries slow down or take a holiday break? Yeah. Although I will say that I actually get the most work during the November, December holiday for some reason. Like November, we've gone back to back custom opportunities in the syndicate, and also in my personal relationships. They've really stacked up. So for some reason, November, December gets really busy. But absolutely, usually that week from Christmas to New Year's, it's kind of dead. Nobody's doing anything because the whole entertainment industry shuts down. Hollywood's gone. I mean, maybe there's some libraries that are working behind the scenes on launching new initiatives for the new year. But yeah, usually at the end of the year, everything slows down, and then you'll see it pick up. Martin, to question 1 about the title of the song, indicated it is not an issue for them as they focus on sync fees. But would it be more sensible to retitle based on the list of songs? The title of the song is not an issue because they focus on sync fees. I'm kind of confused on your question, Martin. I know you had emailed me about this. They're saying, the library is saying it's not an issue for them about the title of the song because they just focus on sync fees. Are you saying that they don't really do... you got to clarify that, man. I'm really kind of confused. If you can just try to reword that for me, I'd like to be able to help. Stephen Chase, what's going on? You opened the email, cool. Dem, should we submit tagged versions of our tracks to libraries? If they request that, but usually they're going to have their own metadata tagging system. So just usually ask them first before you just start throwing your stuff up there, because you might spend all this time on something that doesn't really serve their needs, right? We need to serve their needs. So I would just ask them if they need something tagged. How do I keep my music organized? I heard you talk about using folders. Yeah, you can, categorize or keep your music clear in many different ways, but I'd say the first layer of categorization should be tracks that have been accepted, tracks that are not. Everything that you're creating in the beginning of your career should be in the not accepted yet, right? The minute you get a library, somebody saying, we want those tracks, we want these, move all of those sessions into a folder, maybe even mark it red, and make sure that you don't accidentally send those tracks to other opportunities. So at the very base level of your organization on your external drive, wherever you're storing your tracks, accepted, not accepted, right? Underneath those, you can do genres if you want. You can separate it by albums. You can do it by month. You can do it by year. You have to kind of make that decision based on what kind of music you're making and the pace that you go at. But basically, just making sure that things are very clear in terms of this has been accepted, this is not. And even in the accepted, maybe you want to have 2 subfolders that say exclusive, non-exclusive, right? So if it's been accepted non-exclusively, you can still put those tracks in another non-exclusive library. So that'd be my sort of basic fundamental organizational process. All right, Martin. So part 2 was about Song Trader. They have ISRC on them and meta tags. If I want to pull them out and relocate them in this library, how do I handle this? That's a question for Song Trader. So I don't know what contract you signed with them, if they're exclusively holding on to those, what the term is. So that's not a question for me. It's a question for Song Trader. So just ask them what the process is of taking those tracks out if you want to, or are they non-exclusive? Can you just go to another non-exclusive library with them? An ISRC, that would be a same kind of an issue. So if you're going to go to a library and they're requiring you to get those ISRCs or new ones, then yeah, you need to go talk to Song Trader to find out what their policy is on that. All right, source 4. So you've been accepted to a library, signed contract, session music. Do you follow up and say, hey, or just let them do their thing? Absolutely follow up with them. Once you get that first acceptance letter and that contract signed, the first thing you should be doing, if you didn't already do it before that process, is saying, what do you guys need, right? What's going on in your catalog? What's going on with your clients? What projects do you have coming up in the next 2 to 3 months? Can I be a part of anything that you guys are doing? Can you basically steer me in a direction to make the most licensable music for you? They love those emails because most producers don't ask that. They just want to make their kind of music and send it along, and hopefully it gets accepted. But when you show them a little bit of consideration for their needs and what might be the most useful for them, they immediately elevate your professional level in their eyes. Like right away, you become a much more useful producer for them. So ask them. If you're in doubt of what you should be doing for them or what kind of music you should be submitting, ask them. Oh, so Martin, you're waiting for the contract from Song Trader, I guess you're talking about. Yeah, so you're gonna just, they might have a tech support or a customer service phone number. Hopefully they have a number you can call to get a quicker thing. But yeah, Song Trader, it's one of those companies where I haven't heard a lot of success stories from them. I've heard a lot of producers saying they got a placement, but they never got paid. So I'm sure that's an issue of the benefit of the doubt is that there's like a sort of threshold that you have to meet before you get your payment. But you're, you're in a cattle call situation on a website like that. You're just one out of thousands of producers, hopefully maybe going to get paid attention to, but there's no personal relationship. And the fact that, Martin, you can't even get a hold of your contract in a timely manner, that's a problem, right? You should be able to get on the phone or get an instant email, or at least within a day, with whoever you're working with, right? That if you're doing serious business with people, that's how quickly the turnaround should be for the communication, right? Not submit a ticket to an online thing and you wait 4 weeks to finally get heard back, right? That's just not a recipe for success. So Mario, welcome, man. Good morning. Okay, so Martin, you're clarifying the question. You stated to just retitle the songs based on the opportunity. So I would need to retitle tracks like Psalm and Fill 1 Latin, or just leave the title as is. I don't know. Are you talking about titling the song, like naming the song for the library? I would never name a song like name of the library 1 Latin. Like that is a very unsellable track. So you need to make a very marketable sound. If you're talking about retitling tracks, you might be confusing that when I talked about non-exclusive library. So if you have a non-exclusive thing, let's say you're talking about Songtradr, you have all these track titles, and then you want to also get them in song and film. You are going to need to retitle all those tracks to make sure that if their publisher is going to be associated with it, they can register those tracks, right? And Songtradr is probably taking publishing on your track, so they have their own registration. So that's what I mean by retitling. So hopefully that clarifies what you mean there. Is it necessary to create stems for every alt mix? No. Usually, Mark, is a great question. You obviously ask a library what they need, but most of the time they're just going to ask you for the stems on the full version that has everything in your track. And then all you're going to do is submit the full mixes, like a one wave file of the cut down, 60, 30, 15 sting. Usually it's how that's going to work. And should the stems be mastered? Great question. Very good question. I did a YouTube video about that. Depends. I've worked with libraries that want them mastered. They want them at the full volume of the full track. And I've worked with libraries that say, take off all your mastering, give them a little bit quieter. You got to ask them. Again, I can't tell you 100% either way. Do these libraries accept a signed contract scanned and attached by email, or do they want an actual fax? These days, usually every library is going to take a digital signature. I recommend digisigner.com. I've been using it. Super easy, super great. They'll probably have their own digital service. Some libraries might send you a physical contract in the mail, and yes, you have to fill it out, put it back in the mailbox, drop a stamp on it or whatever, a couple of stamps. But these days, it's a digital world, it's a digital industry, so you're probably going to find most of the time you literally can click a couple of buttons, sign a little thing, or even type in your name and create a digital signature that way, and it's really easy these days. Any tips for naming tracks? Do you save your sessions as one name and then give your track a different name once it's finished? Yeah, usually I will start the session with a sort of idea of just whatever my first thought is for the track I'm working on. But I definitely do take a couple of minutes at the end of the track to try to really name it. I'm actually going to be creating some tutorials about how to name your tracks, but I will say for, a real quick overview, make it memorable. Do not make it forgettable. Don't make it generic, something that like nobody's going to remember. So make it very specific and memorable and interesting. There's a lot of stuff that I'd have to unpack with that question, but I would say for right now, stay away from something like feeling emotional, right? That's generic. Forget that. It doesn't mean anything. Instead, go for something specific and memorable like bleeding rose, right? Or something like that. So it's like it puts an image in your head. You think of this rose with blood dripping off of it. What does that mean? That kind of evokes some emotion, right? And it's specific and it's a little bit memorable. It's not forgettable, okay? But there's a lot to unpack with that, and I'll be sharing with you guys a little bit more down the road, probably in a month or so. I have a new series of tutorials that are going to talk more in depth about that. Songtradr is terrible. Yeah, again, I mean, I've heard mixed things about it. So, you guys have to just, you got to, whatever, use your own judgment. You got to kind of see for yourself. You can obviously see reviews. If anybody knows of anybody getting crazy, awesome placements and doing really well with them, like send them my way. I'd love to talk to them to find out, but I have just not heard of the stories. I don't know of anybody who does really well with them. So I just have to be a little bit more on the skeptical side of what they do. Martin's saying he's getting paid by Songtradr, but they are by definition small payouts. No, I misunderstood. I'm waiting for Song and Film to send contract from them. No, I understood that part, man. Yeah, I know you're waiting for the contract from them, but the track titles, that's the part that I really was not really understanding your question. So, Dem's asking, should we submit tracks with the producer's voice tag on the tracks to libraries? If you're submitting sort of a demo, or you are, actually more importantly, if you're putting together full tracks and letting a library hear them, definitely not a bad idea to kind of protect it a little bit. Throw your little producer tag voice sound on it. Not necessary. It's really not that common that a library is going to steal your music, put it in their catalog, and start representing it without your knowledge. It's just, I actually have never heard of that happening ever. They usually know that, like, their reputation is really important to them. And so if they're being outed as a library that's stealing music without authorization, like, they're done. Like, their libraries or their writers, other producers aren't going to want to work with them. So it's, you know, again, it's insurance. It's an extra step of being careful about it. Not necessary, though. I've been accepted by many libraries without putting any vocal tag on it. Sent them actually the full album to preview it online and said, here you go, here's the playlist, hope you enjoy. And yeah, they accepted them, and then we got a contract together and they threw it in there. So, Songwriter charges just a 20% back-end fee. I get 80% of publishing writers. Okay, there you go. So they're non-exclusive. So they're giving you a majority of the money, which is great. Doesn't mean you make a lot of money, but it does mean that they give you a favorable deal there. So. Dan Mack, in your experience, how do you deal with patients getting started? Really needs a positive mindset to really wait a long time. Yeah, man, the long-term mindset, I feel like a broken record because I talk about this all the time, almost every day. Most of my videos I ever put out, I'm always talking about that this is not for the sort of get-rich-quick mindsets. It is a journey, right? And there's ups and downs with every kind of journey. I have lots of motivational videos on my YouTube channel. The most recent one that I think really struck a chord with a lot of you guys was when I talked about embracing your inner shark. Just look for that video on my channel. That really seemed to grab a hold of a lot of you guys and really kind of bring you out of your funk a bit. You kind of basically have to, it's like that old cliche, you know, saying, but like failure just cannot be an option. You have to take quitting off the table. Yes, you'll have days where you don't want to work. You'll have days where you don't feel like it, but the only way to get to that end point where you're actually completely doing well is you have to take failure off the table. Like, you have no other option but to push forward and to keep moving forward with this. And I'm here to try to help you guys, promote you, and, you know, help you and encourage you and give you this education and have these cool, you know, chat sessions so we can kind of share, you know, how much it really sucks sometimes in this industry. But, you know, that's why I created the Syndicate. That's why I created Sync Edge, because I want there to be a place, a community where we can kind of get together and support each other. You need a community. You absolutely can't do this alone. You got to be a team member. So hopefully this kind of stuff is helping you guys through those, you know, moments of doubt. Derek, do I need to wait until I have all my tracks perfectly mastered to send anything to a library? The mastering is the intimidating aspect of my life, but I keep worrying about it. Yes, do not send a track like in a demo mode, or don't give them any disclaimer saying, well, it's not quite mastered yet, but it'll be better once. No. You should not be submitting anything until you're 100% ready to go, that these tracks can be licensed tomorrow. Again, going back to this new platform that I am developing right now, I guess I'll just tell you guys about it now. I haven't really made an official announcements, but it's going to be called Sync Academy. And I'm putting together not only my own tutorials that I've released to the Syndicate, but I'm creating brand new tutorials on all of those things, producing, mixing, and mastering. And I'm also paying to have other producers come into the Academy and put their tutorials on the platform as well. So you're going to be getting all different types of perspectives with every major genre. And we're going to have complete track walkthroughs of how you start a track, craft a track, you know, getting the structure, transitions, mixing, mastering, creating stems, all, like everything, you guys. So it's going to be a complete A to Z of tutorials for how to do this stuff. So that's all I'll say for now, but I will have more official announcements as we get to the end of the year. I'm launching that January 1st. I think that's basically when I'm going to get it ready to go. So I have quite a few things I need to get done to finish that up. So it's in the process. That's what I've been kind of burying myself in the background. Weston says that SoundTrader sometimes does custom cues. Cool, right on. Mark says, how important is it the tracks and stems are 48K? Most of mine are in 44. Obviously, yeah, you just need to ask the library you're submitting to. Switching the 48K is as simple as when you bounce your stems, though, or your finals. In the bounce window that comes up, I know at least for Logic Pro 10, you can literally just go from 44 to 48. And I think almost all DAWs give you that option. moving forward, I would start all of your tracks in the session in 48K. So go to your audio settings, whatever you're using, and make sure it's in 48K. You're just going to find probably 75% of libraries out there want it already in 48K, whether it's AIF or WAV or whatever. It's just the standard because you're marrying your music to video content, right? And video content always plays at 48K. So that's why it's one of those things that just start getting used to 48K and putting all your sessions in there. So you don't have to do that transition, that conversion at the end. But if you did start in 44, not a big deal at all. Just make sure you bounce every single one, switch it over. That's why it's tedious because you have to click that little switch every time you bounce a stem or a mix, right? Joe, morning, man. So I finished the album of tension cues. Would submitting right after Thanksgiving be a bad idea due to the industry slowing down for the holidays, as you mentioned earlier? No, absolutely not. I would say the bad time to submit would be like the day after Christmas or like, in that week between Christmas and New Year's. That's like family time. Everybody's out of their offices. The week after Thanksgiving, absolutely. I got the syndicate involved in I call them Library X. I do not disclose their identity unless you've gotten a track onto our opportunity. But I got a contract with them. I want to say it was late November of last year, maybe early December. So end of the year, I have living proof that I can absolutely open doors in this period of time. So no, absolutely not. It's not a bad time to do it. I would recommend you submit tracks, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, earlier in the week. Don't wait till Friday when everybody's kind of done and kind of wanting to go home or whatever. So try to catch people in the early parts of the week and probably in the mornings. Mark, my first PRS royalty check, $680 for my 50% co-write of a 27-second MTV reality show placement that has aired 14 times. Is that normal? Many were just paying 1 penny. MTV Europe primetime. Again, normal is one of those things like and you're talking about Europe stuff. So again, I don't, I get some royalties obviously with my international stuff, but most of the stuff that I get is here in the US. So you did 50% of it, 27 seconds. Again, I'm guessing that was probably a background cue. I don't know how prominent it was. And I also don't know how, what the ratings for that was, what time of the day. There's like probably 20 different factors that they use to calculate what your royalty would be. That's part of the business right there. Getting a really disappointing royalty check and going, am I getting screwed? Is this, did I miss out on a bunch of royalties? If I had a dime for every time that happened to me, it's just part of the business, okay? So you can definitely call your PRO and ask them, hey, I'm just wanting to make sure what would sort of determine the variabilities of why I'm getting paid the amount that I am. But the better thing I think to do is to not get so worked up about, a little tiny disappointment here and there, but just to keep your eye on the grander prize that you're gonna have to stack up hundreds, if not thousands of those kind of placements to turn this into full-time income. So you can get hung up on one little thing. I'm not saying that you are, by the way. I'm just saying a lot of producers obviously do when they get a disappointing check. I did. You can get hung up on one little thing, and then that kind of prevents you, and it takes down your motivation, and your energy lowers, and you don't really feel like moving forward in the business, right? But just right now, be prepared for those kind of disappointments and just think, all right, failure is not an option. Take it off the table. Marching forward. I got to create a bunch more of those kind of things, and you will start to see much bigger ones. You'll get those ones that are like, whoa, I don't know if I should be getting paid that much money. You're going to see the opposite end of that spectrum. In the beginning, though, it's more likely you'll see the not so great side of the spectrum, which you'll feel like, wow, like all of that, music was played, but I didn't get that much money. Just part of the business. So, keeping it real with you guys. That's why most producers do not succeed in this industry. That is exactly why. The lack of motivation, the lack of immediate payment, the lack of immediate reward for all the effort you put into this scares most producers away, and it demotivates them, and then they go do something else. So kind of a junior college version of the syndicate. In a way, Martin's asking about the Sync Academy platform that I'm building. It will not include licensing opportunities, and it's not going to include feedback on your music. So that's still going to be the exclusive access and service that I give to syndicate members. So that's still the premium service that I'm offering. But you'll absolutely get sort of I guess you can call it a little bit of a watered down version of the syndicate, in that you're getting all the tutorials and the instruction that I do give to the syndicate members, okay? So yeah, you'll get a little sort of taste of what the syndicate members get to access all the time, absolutely. And it'll be very, very cheap, extremely cheap, okay? Jamendo, a EU library. No, I don't think I've heard of them. I made a few $1,000s each year for a decade, and since 1 year, no more income. Even if my stats on the platform are still growing. Hold on. I made a few $1,000s each year for a decade and since. 1 year, no more income. I don't know, man. I mean, it sounds like you were making a lot of money and then now you're saying you're not making any money. So, I mean, it could be that they are now serving different kinds of clients, or your music now is getting a little dated if it's been there for a decade. So I don't know what kind of music you have in there. There's a lot of factors for that, why you would suddenly not see so much money. Weston, I'm working on my own websites library. I have set up membership for people like music directors. Do you think it would be better to keep the tracks exclusive to only members, or keep it open so anybody can come to listen on my library? Oh, interesting. So you're going to basically kind of create, now are you shopping to, oh, you're becoming a library. Okay, so Wes, you want to become a library. I would not have your tracks just out there available for probably everybody to just come, because then you're exposing yourself to people coming and taking music and using it without their authorization. So maybe put up a demo or a little sample playlist of what you can offer in various genres. But then obviously you have a little opt-in that says, if you'd like to get full access, please click here, enter your email, something that makes people give you something so that you can reach out to them. It's also great for sales, because you don't want people coming and listening to your music and then leaving. Like, well, who was that? I don't know. I didn't get their information. So it's a great way to actually say, if you want full access to my catalog to see what I can offer you, give me your email address or give me your phone number and let's get on the phone and talk to them. So it's a way to generate leads as well, right? Because you get a little bit of way to kind of reach back out to them. So, but congrats, man. And it's very ambitious and really cool. I wish you the best on that. Really cool. Just Mac, how often do you utilize loops? Drums are a weakness at the moment, and the temptation to just plop something from Splice down often outweighs wanting to spend hours crafting something from scratch. When I use loops, I try to only use them in a percussive way or something that's kind of an add-on to the sort of core basics of my track. I usually don't use loops with drums or use construction kits or anything like that. I like to program my drums. I'm not saying that you can't use, obviously, commercially cleared drum loops. The problem you're going to run into, though, is that if you get a note from somebody that says, oh, we like it, but the kick is really not punching through, can you replace that kick? Good luck. I mean, if you can edit that and EQ it out and add something else, go for it, absolutely. But it's so much easier when you have a MIDI track that has the kick sound and you just, okay, new kick, doom. It's about time, right? It's about saving time and that kind of a thing. So I would say in the moment, maybe it's not your strong point, but make it a goal of yours to start learning how to producing more effective drum tracks, because you will be asked to switch out individual samples and sounds and all that kind of stuff. And if you're not doing that, you're creating full loops, you're really kind of screwed, especially if you're using full loops for leads or chord progressions or something like that. And they say, hey, that lead's a little bit reminiscent of some other track. You switch that lead up. Well, you had one loop. That's all you had. You couldn't switch that lead out. So you're going to put yourself in kind of a tricky situation, especially for custom opportunities and ones that, hey, swap this out. We need this back over in the next hour or else we're going to lose this opportunity. And those opportunities are definitely out there where you have to switch things out so quickly that you don't have time to go, EQ and, do all this insane stuff to try to fix something that is really almost impossible to fix. So I say, don't beat yourself up if you're not a great drum composer yet or programmer, but put yourself on a path to start learning how to do that better. Source 4, how do I make all these videos and still have time to make music full-time? Well, most of you guys watching this probably have part-time jobs or maybe full-time jobs. So you got to remember, this is my full-time job, okay? So I do basically work all day. I have a very crazy schedule, but the reason why I'm able to do all this is because it's not really work to me. It's fun. I actually love teaching. I love educating, and I like, giving motivational talks and stuff like that. So this is kind of fun for me. I really do enjoy it. But I do obviously always prioritize my music licensing career. So sorry to, crap on you guys, but my music licensing career and my clients, if they need something, it's like that always is number one. So what I try to do is I pre-plan my week out for the syndicate, for Sync Edge, for everything that I do, even my YouTube channel. I pre-shoot all those videos, and I have a lot of stuff just kind of in the canon waiting to be launched, so that if I have a crazy week, you really don't even notice, right? Because you just see my videos, you see me reaching out and stuff, but that stuff might have been written or filmed or shot a week or two prior to that, or even before that. So I have a process to make sure that I'm still maintaining everybody's, I'm getting to everything that I really need to get to. But If I couldn't keep up with all this, I would have shut it down. It wouldn't have worked out. But right now it's working. Like I'm able to keep up with this stuff. I'm able to do these live Q&As. I was able to, create SyncEdge in a way that I could give you guys those specific music library recommendations. I couldn't do it the way people were asking before. I was getting emails every day. Jesse, just tell me to send my music. Just tell me. Here's my music. Analyze it and tell me who. No way I have time to do that. No way, right? That is so specific and down to the smallest little details. And there's dozens, hundreds of producers asking for that. So that's why I just kept going shy of that, going like, I can't do that. But when the SyncEdge idea kind of came to me, I was like, bingo, I can do that, right? I can give you guys those specific recommendations and give you sort of the game path, but you make the choice. Is your music appropriate for this given library, right? Last question from Martin. Meteor made by UVI. Are you familiar with it? No, not familiar with that one, man. Is Splice membership worth it? Do you really get access and use for all those royalty-free samples for a monthly fee? Yep, absolutely, man. I think they still got it at $8 a month, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they still give you a two-week trial, something like that. So I still use it. I pay my membership fee every single month, and I use those samples religiously almost every day when I'm making music. So Mark, how do you split your time between writing for existing library requests and writing material to pitch to new libraries? Right now, I'm not looking for any new libraries. I am booked. I have quite a few relationships out there that I'm primarily working for. I have one major client that I personally work with on a weekly basis, keep sending them music. And I still have other contacts out there that once in a while reach out for a custom queue or something like that. But I'm pretty good right now. The only time that I would start looking about pitching to a new library is if the current opportunities that I'm working with go cold, which has happened in my career. So I stopped getting email requests. I stopped getting, show requests or custom gigs from the people that I'm regularly working with. And then it's like, okay, time to move on. They're getting cold on me. They're getting whatever, slow. I don't know what the issue is. Not my problem. My problem is I got to look out for my career. So I got to go work with new people now that might be able to do that. So. How important has in-person networking been to success in your music licensing? Do you recommend it? So personally, Burn, I have never, I will say the one time that I did do some in-person networking was when I first got started in this business and I met a library owner and we had a talk. It was my band actually that met with him. The band said no to music licensing, but I sort of stayed behind the meeting and said, please, I would like to submit some of my own personal music, not part of the band. That was the one pretty much and only time that I've done in-person networking. Other than that, every relationship I've ever built is through email and phone calls and Facebook, actually. I made quite a few relationships just sending a message to somebody who worked at a library and said, hey, man, I noticed you worked here and I'm also a producer and blah, 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 blah. It's a very digital world. So you can definitely go and show up to these, I know they, what's it called? What is the organization? I can't even think of it. Anyways, the music library or music licensing organization puts on the conference that they do every single year, which is really, really effective and powerful. And there's a lot of people there to kind of shake hands and all that good stuff. But you can open up a door just as easily with a phone call or an email. That's how people are talking these days. It is the 2018 era, right? Everybody's talking in digital formats. Okay, Dem, after submitting a track for a placement and you don't hear back after some time, how and when should you follow up with them? So I would basically give them about 2 weeks. If you don't hear anything after 2 weeks, send a follow-up email, just reminding them politely that you did submit to them and attach that email. Don't make them look through their inbox. Say, hey, attached is the email that I sent. Just want to make sure it didn't end in your spam folder or that you guys overlooked it. And then I would just politely remind them that, if you don't hear back from them, let's say within a week or so, you'll be shopping it to other libraries. It's not a threat. It's just giving them a little bit of an ultimatum that can't come to me in 3 months and then want that music. Like it'll probably be gone by then. So just send them a follow little email and say, hey, just want to make sure you were aware. If they still don't get back to you a week or two after that, move on. It's over. Like they're just either they're too busy right now or they're just not really interested in signing you. Splice is $7.99, Mark's saying. Okay, so there you go. Joe, when creating stems, should you simplify them? For example, if you have a bunch of percussion tracks, group them similar, or group strings instead of giving separate bass, cello. Exactly. Now, you do need to talk to the library you're submitting to because they might have specific recommendations. But in my experience, you absolutely nailed it right there. You're not going to have a shaker, a tambourine, a hand drum. You're not going to have all those different stems. It's just all going to be grouped up into percussion. The difference would be, though, is I don't think you're going to have one stem that's drums. You're going to want to have kick, snare, but not hi-hat, cymbal, ride, not all three of those in one, but maybe all of those on cymbals, right? So all cymbals there, and then all toms on a different one. So you can definitely group your drums in that manner. So absolutely, you want to start grouping things in things that make sense. If you have, let's say, rock guitars, you're probably going to want to have rhythm guitar and lead guitar if you have lead or something like that. And strings, you can either do low or high strings, or you can do, sometimes I do staccato and legato. So you have the short string section and then you have the longer notes. So you can kind of categorize it and separate it as you will, but definitely ask the library. They'll probably give you a one sheet on what they expect from you, how they want you to separate all those things. Nathan, okay, love Sync Edge. One of the libraries I accepted for asked for a $50 one-time composer setup fee. I know who you're talking about. I had another, I've been warned many others not to proceed. Apparently paying to get publishing deal to get published is a bad deal. So this is why, I can tell you why this library does this. So they probably get a lot of submissions, which most libraries do. And for them to take your music, get it into their catalog, add metadata to it, maybe put some you know, marketing behind it, put an album cover, all that good stuff. It requires their time and energy and attention and money, right? So they don't want flake composers that are just spamming them with a bunch of stuff and then they disappear. So yes, it's not ideal. It'd be great if you could just, you know, submit and work with them. And that's how most libraries do it. But this library, it does not mean that they're not doing great work. It just means that they're weeding out all the flaky people, okay? They're not charging you $50 every time you submit. They're charging you basically as an initiation to get on board with their platform, okay? You know, 50 bucks, it's not that much money. I mean, I know, you know, it's not like, it's not $5. I know it's more than that. But if you feel like they're going to be the best ones for you in terms of the placements and the opportunities that they can provide for you, you're going to make that 50 bucks back with your royalties very, you know, very almost assuredly, as long as you're providing them with really good music. So not ideal. It'd be great, but I think I understand why they're doing that. They're trying to weed out the people that are just spamming stuff. So they're also putting an incentive in your pocket to say, you know, you've paid them $50. You want to make sure you get that 50 back out of them by supplying them with good music. So it kind of creates a good incentive for both parties. You're welcome, Dem. Glad you enjoyed the questions. Dan, do I think this is the best time for music licensing because there are more and more shows? It is about to become the best time. I would say that probably the early 2000s, late 90s were a really golden age because that was the blossoming of the cable industry and all these new channels and networks were looking for music. So this whole thing blew up. And right now we're kind of seeing the same thing about to happen with what you said. Like we have streaming services, we have VR, AR, video games, new platforms, new methods of entertainment. They're about, you can kind of feel them. They're about to bubble up and about to become into the mainstream in a major way. So right now, not quite, but I do think in the next couple of years, we're going to see another golden age of this just blossoming of outlets and opportunities and ways to make money by licensing your music. So absolutely, I'm very optimistic. I know some people feel like, you know, the dark days are upon us and it's all over. Not interested in talking to people like that, like just negative Nellies, you know, wet blankets. No thanks. Like keep your negativity to yourself and go ahead and bow out. Leaves more space for us that want to really work and do something positive here. Those sheets you mentioned that libraries send, are they a standard or vary from opportunity? Yeah, they're very customized based on the opportunity, based on what they need. So they're going to send you, and sometimes it's just in an email format to say, here's our recommendations or here's what we need, you know. So yeah, it's going to be customized. Derek, if I just need to get some tracks mastered, should I hire somebody just to get some of my tracks out there while I learn to master properly? You can do that, absolutely, if you want to pay some money. There's some of those online mastering programs. I don't know what they are. I really haven't used them that much, so I don't know how well they work. But absolutely, if you want to pay for a little bit for now and then, you know, start to build in those skills for yourself down the road, totally. Just costs money. Yeah, that's the only thing. So I'm new here and didn't get the 24-hour notification. Just having to look at my phone and saw the email. Okay, I sent the email out. It's at least 24 hours. So I don't send it out exactly 24 hours before that. I'm saying I send it to you at least 24 hours. So I think I sent the original email Monday or Tuesday this week. So check your email, check your spam folder. Make sure you mark my email, my address safe, because it might be being sent to your spam. I had a question about the emails. Do we get template with the subscription? No, the emails templates that come with a music library directory. Okay, so you can either purchase that by itself, or it also comes with the, you can get that with the syndicate. So the syndicate does include the master course, which is those 8 videos plus all the digital downloads, which includes those templates. So no, so if you want to do that, just email me. I'll send you the link so you can get it today if you want to get that. And yeah, so you would get the music library directory, which has the 300 companies, and then it also includes those submission email templates, the ones that I've used to actually get myself accepted by libraries, and I have proven success stories from other students who have used those same templates to the T, like literally just swapped out some of the information for who they were sending to and got a contract. So it's very, it's proven. I released my debut CD in 2011. Could I send this to libraries for placements? It depends. Like, it sounds like it's already been distributed, right? It's probably online or it's been in other outlets. So if it's already been sort of available to the public, you have to let a library know that, right? Non-exclusive library, who cares? It's not exclusive. But if you want to go to an exclusive one, absolutely, you better let them know this was previously released and it's on iTunes or wherever it is, right? Let them know, because they may or may not have an issue with that. So just be transparent about that. Tazdeen, I have about 210 tracks with ASCAP. Should I go back and export all to fit TV and film audio format requirements before I send any out for consideration? Export all to... So you're saying you have a lot of tracks already, but you think maybe you need to rework them so they fit for the TV film industry? You know, I don't know what tracks you have and what their format is, but absolutely, if you feel like they could be a little bit more appropriate for this industry, then yes, I would restructure things before you submit to libraries. And again, I'm going to be teaching you guys all that stuff with that new platform that I'm going to be launching in the beginning of the year, how to make, produce, mix, master, create cut downs, make sure that it's all appropriate specifically for the licensing business. So that might be really useful for you, Tazdeen. So stay tuned. I'm getting to you as soon as I can. I think January 1st is the day that that'll be available. So yeah, so damn, you produce all the instruments and vocals. Cool. The Beat Freaks, you're welcome, man. Keep it coming, guys. We still got about 20 minutes or so. In fact, I'm going to go warm up my coffee. It's all cold now, so get those questions going. I'll be right back. Nothing better than microwaved, reheated coffee. Nathan, for commercials, you end the 30-second audio file at exactly 29.5 seconds. It depends on, you know, because some 30-second commercials are actually 32 seconds. Some of them are 28 seconds. So you really just need to make sure that it's fitting with the, either if you get a video file, that it actually fits and it completes all the way to the end, to the last frame of it. But ask the library. I mean, you're asking me a question about something that is very specific to a custom opportunity, so I can't give you the definite answer on that. Audio format is in 24-bit or 41 hertz. I don't know if that's a question for me or not. Don't mean to sound cheap, but is there a discount for SyncEdge if we upgrade? No, there's not going to be a discount, but I will tell you guys this, that SyncEdge, the membership fees are going to be increasing in January. And so you guys are locked in right now. I will never raise membership rates on you guys, okay? I hate when I get those things from the subscriptions that I'm a part of, and they're like, hey, we're just going to start charging $1 for $2 more a month, and just because. Never will do that. So if you're locked in at your rate right now, you guys will stay at that rate, but I am going to be increasing that. The reason being is because this thing works. You guys have seen, right, how many success stories there are. You guys personally have seen. A lot of you guys here in the chat have gotten this stuff. And it's just, it works. Okay, this is the best thing basically online for producers that want to get accepted by libraries. So I know that this is very, very valuable. And so yeah, prices are going to be raising in the start of the year. But don't worry for you guys, not going to apply to any of you guys. And the new platform will be very, very cheap. I will announce the price. I'll announce what that is. So don't worry, you will absolutely be able to afford it. I can guarantee you, everybody in this group, if you want to be a part of it, if you feel that these tutorials will really help you, absolutely, you can afford it. I can guarantee you. I don't care how broke you are. I don't care how little money you have in your bank. You will be able to scrape together the little bits of scraps to be able to get into this program. Okay. Is that new program I'm producing going to come with a Sync Academy? I am in? Yes. So Weston, if you're in the Sync Academy right now, which is basically the syndicate platform, I've retitled it Sync Academy for now. That is absolutely going to be included. If you're a syndicate member, 100%, you're already in the Sync Academy. No question. What does the term bed mean when bouncing stems? Good question. So bed sometimes is talked to as music bed. And a lot of times it means the song without leads, right? It's kind of like the lower elements, drums, bass, maybe a low synth or something like that, or a drone sound. So it usually just means create a version of the track that doesn't have any high distracting elements in it, so it can be fitting behind somebody who's talking, right? It's not distracting, it's not going into the foreground. That's usually what I mean by a music bed version. Would you be willing to do another show and tell style of Edge members and their music? Did I do a show and tell? I mean, I used to do the featured producer thing like a year ago. I don't know exactly what you mean, Derek. Get an espresso machine. I know, man. I just like black coffee, though. That's all I need. I don't need anything fancy. I don't need anything else. Just plain black coffee. No sugar, no cream. A little bit of cinnamon. Perfect. Right on. Getting this Q&A is priceless. Cool, man. That's what I hope. I hope you guys are taking advantage of this and showing up. I really, I mean, let's be honest. A lot of you guys are the regulars here. Okay, there's a lot of people that sign up and they don't show up to this, and it's literally like going to college and not showing up for the professor's office hours. And you guys would probably agree, this is one of the most valuable parts of SyncEdge, and you'd be surprised how many people do not take advantage of this. It's kind of crazy. But I guess people get busy, and we all have lives, we have families, that kind of thing. So I'm not blaming anybody, but you guys here are making the time. You're sacrificing. You're taking a time out of your Saturday morning to learn this stuff, to be proactive. It says a lot about your seriousness to this business, so it's really cool. Tazdeen, I have those 210 tracks through CD Baby Pro, and they are doing my publishing in a non-exclusive way. What do I do when a library asks me if my publisher to say CD Baby, or do I set up a separate publisher? They are doing my publishing in a non-exclusive way. So look at your contract, Tazdeen, or call them and say, hey, I want to get these tracks that I have through you through a library, and just ask them what the process for that, because I don't know exactly what that means. That could mean that you can just take them elsewhere. If you can just take them elsewhere, then you're going to probably have to retitle all those tracks so that the library you send them to can also register them under their publishing company. But if it's non-exclusive, obviously, you can only go to non-exclusive libraries. You can't go to an exclusive library. I mean, you can, but you got to tell them, CD Baby also has these songs, so just be upfront with them. Derek, I watched the video where a bunch of your members sent music to you and you listened to it live and talked about structure and style. Oh, gotcha. That is my just YouTube channel. That wasn't SyncEdge members. That was just on my YouTube channel for free for any subscriber that came across my video. So I haven't done that in a while. It'll be a while probably before I do that again. I will do it at some point, but it takes a lot out of me, and it's quite an endeavor to go through that many submissions and give that much feedback. And it's not so much about the time, it's also the energy, right? It's dozens and dozens of producers coming to me for that authentic feedback. And I don't want to BS anybody and say, yeah, good enough, whatever, next. I can't do that to people. That's really not fair. So I do want to make sure that I'm 100% present, mentally focused, right? Energetically, I have to be there. So it takes a lot out of me to do that. On top of, the question before was, how do you keep up with all that? Well, that's why I don't do too many of those, because I have so much other stuff on my plate that does have to be something that I sort of ramp and gear myself up to do those reviews. So. Sync Edge is making an immediate difference. Hence, I was signed up in a half hour before you started. Folks don't show up. That's on them. Absolutely. Does my music library directory come with the Syndicate membership? No, the Syndicate membership includes the music library directory. It's the other way around. So if you sign up for the Syndicate, you get basically almost everything other than Sync Edge. You basically get everything that I offer. You get the master course, those 8 videos that walk you through the business, how it works. You get the digital downloads, the library directory templates, and the production music blueprint. That's kind of like formulas and instruments that I use for all the different genres that I produce in. And then, of course, you get access to music license opportunities. Right now, we're doing that retro synthwave one. You get feedback on your tracks. We do open reviews about once a month where you can submit any track you're working on, and I just give you feedback. So in terms of where do I give all that feedback? Syndicate members. That's who gets all that. What's a good number of tracks we should send in a 1-year period? That's a great question. I think shoot for 10 tracks a month. If you can get to 120 tracks a year, you're on a great path. If you can do more than that, awesome. But I would say shoot for 10 tracks a month. That's a great, basically one album that you can get out a month. That's really, really awesome. And that can absolutely get you on path to full-time income much quicker than if you did, you know, one album every 3 months or something slower like that. So Nathan's asking about what kind of submissions, like multiple genres or a reel. So I would stick to 1, maybe 2 genres that you stick to, and make sure you, if you're going to do 5 tracks, it should be 5 tracks in that one genre. Or if you have 2 genre, maybe 5 tracks for this one, 5 tracks for that one. But do not try to be the master of all genres and the jack of all trades. I can do everything. Don't do that. Try to really market yourself as a rock producer or an EDM producer or a orchestral one. And use the library or the Sync Edge videos to help craft that pitch for yourself. Don't try to give them everything at once, okay? Awesome. Martin's noticing improvements. Very cool. Burns asking, do I ever encounter jealousy from my musician friends who were never able to make it or just even living? Actually, I've been really fortunate in that, no, like everybody that I am still friends with that maybe started off with music but doesn't do music anymore. I mean, I don't know secretly how they feel, but at least publicly what they tell me is they're happy for me. They're just really stoked. They're really, you know, excited for me that it worked out for me, that I'm still making it. So in some ways, I think they try to live vicariously through me in a way. So luckily, I've been blessed with that I don't get a lot of hatred or jealousy or sort of whatever. Yeah, I mean, privately, who knows, right? Everybody has their own opinion privately, but at least from what I get from my old friends and bandmates and that kind of thing is no, they're just, when I do hear from them, they're like, oh, that's really cool. You're still going for it. You're still making it happen. That's really awesome. So yeah, they're really supportive. So. Yeah, I can't release. Martin's asking about separating the genres for the library directory. I can't do that only because I just don't have the time to do that, because I'd have to go through every single one. And most libraries carry almost all genres. I don't know if you guys have been noticing with all the videos I do in Sync Edge, they almost all carry almost everything, but each one is specific for what I think you should submit to, right? I think there's one that's like, they're kind of weak on it. They don't have a lot, so go for that one. So I just don't have the time, the resources to be able to do that. And I'm certainly not going to give those recommendations to just the directory, right? You guys get exclusive access to those kind of recommendations with Sync Edge. Do I release production tracks for public listening like on Spotify, iTunes? I don't, just because everything that I do in this business goes directly to somebody who's going to get into a TV show. So it's like, what do I care about Spotify or iTunes? Spotify and iTunes are for, you know, the public, the general public to consume. Doesn't mean you can't do it. You can do that. Maybe try to get a little bit more publicity for yourself, especially if you're trying to do your own kind of a library catalog, that sort of a thing. But for me, I'm like, screw the public, screw you know, consumers that don't want to pay for music. What do I want them for? I don't want them to like just not buy my music. I want to send my music to people that can actually get me paid and get me. Uh-oh, did we lose our stream here? Hold on. I'm seeing a red light. Red light. No. What's going on there? See if I can close some more stuff to try to make it better. Can you guys still hear me? I'm seeing like a red and an orange status symbol, so it looks like I'm really dying here. Oh, and Dem's talking about collaborating. Absolutely, you can talk about that, and that's what the Sync Academy is going to provide for you guys. There's going to be an online social media platform, not Facebook. It's going to be our own private platform where you can absolutely go collaborate, and there's going to be a space and a group for you guys to absolutely do that. So hang in there. It's coming. You guys can hear me? All right, cool. So sorry, it's going to be choppy at the end of this video. I guess, you know, at some point I start, you know, losing my power here. I don't know what's going on. It's just glitchy. Yeah, some buffering interrupts. The audio's coming through fine. Okay. Oops. Looks like now it's off. All right. You can hear me. You can see me. Guys, give me a yes or a 1 or something that before I get started here. I'll make sure you guys can actually see me. Yeah, it's super choppy. I don't know what is happening here. Got full signal. This is really, really annoying. Well, I think what I might do is I'll try to answer the last few questions that I see. Now it looks green. I don't know. It's saying it's taking up a big chunk of my CPU, so let me quit a couple of things here. Maybe that'll help. Don't know. Don't know. You can hear me. Gotcha. Okay. Let me catch up with where we were. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If you can't see me, okay, you can't see me. If I considered being a library, I've definitely considered it. I am really just not that interested in that right now. Maybe in the future I'll change my mind. If you're a writer of production music, is there a benefit to creating an online presence, building your online brand, directing people to your website? Absolutely. I mean, you can go that path and basically try to attract people directly to your music, to, you know, directors and producers and ad agencies and all that kind of stuff, and try to create a little bit of a buzz for yourself. But the simpler, faster, easier path is just to go right to libraries who already have those clients, already have those relationships. All right, internet connection okay? I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here. It says it's okay, so. Can you reuse a drum kit over multi-songs, or you should just create a new one every time? No, absolutely, you can use the same drums. If you're doing like a full album of, like, you know, rock metal tracks or whatever, and you want to use the same drum sounds, absolutely. There's no reason why you can't use the same sounds. Just reprogram the drums so they fit the new track. Saves you a lot of time, actually, so not a bad idea at all. Looks good now. Okay. Well, we got about 5 minutes, guys, and I know it's probably choppy coming in and out, so I apologize for that at the end here. We're kind of losing our steam. A couple more minutes for questions, though, and then I'm bouncing. Did I lose all you guys? Nobody's here. You guys still with me? Seemed like everything got real quiet real fast. Would you think it's a good idea to make private contracts with YouTubers as exclusive producers for the channels? You can absolutely do that if you want to, like, reach out directly to some of these companies or these YouTubers and start giving them your music and negotiating yourself the rates you want to do that. Absolutely. If you want to go for that path, that seems like something that you can actually serve your music with. Again, always look for those opportunities. That's what is so powerful about music licensing, is it opens your eyes up into new ways that you can get paid for your music. Most producers and musicians are just thinking sell tickets, sell albums, sell t-shirts, and that's all they're doing. They don't realize that there's a whole wave of entertainment outlets to actually get your songs appreciated in. All right. Thanks, Weston. You too, man. Most popular genre that libraries are looking for. They are basically the genres that I cover in Sync Edge. That's why I cover those ones. So it's the major ones, the ones you hear on the radio: rock, pop, EDM, hip hop, orchestral. I guess you don't hear orchestral on the radio. Minimal, corporate, you know, and a mix and match of all those kind of things. Some hybrids of all those elements. So the most popular ones: a little bit of country, not so much, but indie folk is good. Latin does really well. If we get into libraries, you recommend month after month. Will you refund each month with a new video? No, it's for the first one. Okay, so if you get accepted by your first library, then, you know, email me. We'll talk about it, and then I'll give you the refund for you. But no, you don't. You know, the next month you get another one, and then another one. And you shouldn't be probably partnering with more than 2 or 3 libraries. Okay, unless they're not feeding you enough work. You really should be hungry and feeding massively 1 or 2 libraries that you get accepted to. So you shouldn't be seeing a lot of that in the beginning. You should get 1 or 2 under your belt, and then start working. That really should be what you do. And if you do need another library, then obviously you can log in and see what the new recommendations might be. You're welcome, Joe. Right on. You've been watching the YouTube for a year. Cool, man. Did I miss anything? So, all right. Well, it looks like got a couple more here. Okay, how do you put albums together? I keep hearing that. Not sure how that works. When you put an album together, you're basically just creating a series of tracks, 10, maybe 12. And they're all going to be in one particular genre. They can be different emotions and different moods, but they need to be all, let's say, pop rock or future-based EDM, right? Whatever the genre you're putting together, they all need to be in that one particular genre, and they need to be sort of themed in that manner. But you should be bringing all different types of that genre to the album. So that's all it is. You don't have to do artwork. You don't have to like label it if you don't want to. But if you do want to create a little bit of, you know, hey, I'm going to call this album, I think this album would be called XYG, and I have some ideas for the artwork or whatever. You know, it's not a bad thing to submit along to the library because it shows them that you're serious about this, that you're not just submitting whatever. They don't expect it, of course, but it does show a little bit of extra, again, professionalism. That's why having your own website makes a big difference. Having these kind of suggestions that you pass along makes a big deal as well. Dig and Seek Edge, right on, man. You're welcome, Nathan. Glad you enjoyed. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off here. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are trying to collaborate and all that kind of stuff. You know, do whatever you guys want to do here on YouTube. It's fine. Hang tight because in the future, the Sync Academy program will actually allow you guys to actually interact, and you can just send links and do all that kind of stuff. I don't know. There's probably some spam filters on the YouTube comments or whatever. So I have some filters on there. So if you're posting email addresses or something, I mean, it looks like Mark, you got yours up there. But sometimes that stuff gets blocked because it's seen as spam. Because you guys would not believe how many people come to my channel advertising their products on my videos. It's and big name companies. I'm not going to mention who they are. You guys have all heard of them. We've talked about them in this stream. There are companies that come to my channel because I have a lot of subscribers that try to leech off of my videos, and I put a stop to that a long time ago. So I have some filters just to make sure that doesn't kind of happen. But unfortunately, it might be applying to some of you guys here. So you're welcome, Derek. All right, guys, I'm out of here. You guys have a great day. Get back to work and enjoy. The weekends are the time to be making your music, so I hope you guys have a lot of stuff to be working on. I know I certainly do. Still building the platform and all that good stuff that's coming up. So again, January 1st, hang tight. I'll have some cool announcements. You're on the email list. You guys know how to get a hold of me, and I know how to get a hold of you. So I'll be making a bunch of announcements before then, and I'll tell you guys all about it and whether or not it's going to be something you guys want to participate in. But for now, hang tight. Hang in there. If you're feeling demotivated, you're feeling, you know, bummed out, you're feeling like, I don't know if this is going to work out. The lesson from today's live Q&A is, what did we learn? Take failure off the table. It's not an option. You do not have that in your vernacular anymore. It's not even in your vocabulary to give up. That doesn't even exist anymore. You can feel defeated. You can feel bummed out. You can feel like it's not, you know, working as well as you thought it would or as fast as you thought it would. But it doesn't take you off the table, right? It doesn't take you out of the game. It just, you know, you can rest on the side, then get back in the ring, right? Get back on the horse, keep at it. That's what we got to do in this business. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys next